Alright, let's talk about the music I wrote for Park for the Course, an episode of Pencilmation released on April 21st, 2021. Quick introduction for myself. My name is Michael. I am a freelance composer. I have been officially for about 10 years. I've written underscores, songs, concert pieces, but what I found myself doing a lot of is cartoon music, specifically for Pencilmation. Park for the Course is an episode that begins with Pencilmiss, Granny, and Little Miss as they're wrapping up a day at the fair. What follows is a series of gags that prevent them from leaving. At the end, Pencilmiss has a freak out and proceeds to stuff every bit of the fair into the car. Oh, trumpet player. And I do mean everything. Well, almost everything. In late 2020, I was brought on to do a lot of Pencilmation episodes, and on March 17th, 2021, I was assigned this episode. I was currently living with my parents after being forced back a few months prior. My office was a sunroom in the middle of the house. Here's my setup at the time. Pretty sweet, except little privacy and no sound isolation. Now the good news is that I was about to be brought onto Pencilmation full-time, which meant steady pay and a lot of episodes. Here are the notes I received from the director. There should be a main circus or fair theme. The music should sound increasingly faster/stronger, matching Pencilmiss's frustration, and maybe treat when Granny and Little Miss run off at the end as a montage. I said can do, and I began March 22nd, 2021, which was also my very first day as a full-time composer for Pencilmation. So, here's the blank template. Let's start with a circus theme. How do you write a circus theme? Yeah, that works pretty well. Let's continue roughing out this score on piano. Okay, here's the freak out, and we'll just take that circus march and make a big finale. All right, all roughed out. Time for orchestration. Now, back in 2021, I had Cinematic Studio Strings, Cinematic Studio Brass, but not Cinematic Studio Woodwinds. So instead, I was using a combination of free instruments, Garriton Personal Orchestra, and... I'm not really happy with the clarinet sounds I got. All right, what are we going to do here? I don't have a lot of money to spend, so... Hey, Mom! You used to play clarinet, right? So yeah, I recorded my mom playing sustains, shorts, and a grace note effect. Took about an hour of recording, and then after some scripting, I had a virtual clarinet I could use. I also needed some muted brass effects. Right then, time to orchestrate. All together! And with that, I was done. It was all very rough, but I submitted the first draft the following day on March 23rd, 2021. Okay, I'm going to try to go off script here for a second and speak to you seriously. As a composer for media, you can't get attached to your music. Revisions are inevitable. And revisions came. Fortunately, the director didn't have too many notes for me. Around 30 seconds in, have the music start reflecting the problem, then a little cheerier as Pencilmation tries to help. At a minute 15, fill in those silent spots. From 2 minutes 44 seconds to 2 minutes 58 seconds, the music should shift to frustration and then build. And then from 2 minutes 59 seconds to 3 minutes and 13 seconds, music sounds too fun and cheerful. Dang it, that was my big March finale. Would be fun if there were some electric guitars. Electric guitars. Okay. Once I got those revisions out of the way, I decided to add my own improvements. I added an anvil here, retimed this horn rip, and added a flute and glock at the end. No, a glockenspiel! Glockenspiel! All right. Well, with that, the second draft was done March 30th, 2021. About a month later, the finished short is released on YouTube, and... Wait a second. Wait a second. They used the first draft. They used the first draft. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I emailed them after the fact, and they said that it was a mistake. But, you know, whatever. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you gained some insight from it, even if I didn't go into too much detail. I had a lot of fun looking back at this old score. I am thinking about making more videos like this that go into the creation process, so if you have any ideas or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Bye now!